Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Now today I'm making some chocolate drinks. Now these are very similar to Romani creams. I guess you can make them as Romani creams, but I'm following Najeebah's cuisine's recipe for arrow rings. Now the first thing I did, to a pan, I've added 2.5 cups of coconut. It's just desiccated coconut, and I just lightly toasted it in a pan. You can do it on a stove or in the oven. Just keep an eye on it because you don't want it to burn. My oven is preheating at 160 degrees Celsius. Now to my bowl, I've got 1 cup of icing sugar, and to that I'm going to add 250 grams of soft butter. And I guess you can use margarine as well. To my butter and my sugar, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of oil. Now I'm just using a cake measuring cup, so it'd be 250 ml of icing sugar. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Then I'm just going to whip that up. So once that is nice and smooth, you're going to add your eggs. I've got 3 eggs, and I'm just going to add it one at a time. I'm just going to give it a mix with a spatula. You just want to make sure that your eggs is well incorporated. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to add, I'm going to start by adding my dry ingredients. And the next thing is 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder. I'm using half dark cocoa and the other half just the Nestle or Nestle cocoa. So you're going to do 4 tablespoons and just sift it in. Make sure to sift it in because it usually has some lumps. Now you don't have to do half and half. You can just use 4 tablespoons of whatever cocoa powder you have. I'm also going to add 3 teaspoons of baking powder. My 2.5 cups of coconut. And then my flour. Now the recipe doesn't specify how much flour, just flour as needed. So I'm going to start by adding about 1.5 cups, and I'll just add as I go. You just want a nice soft dough. So when you see your dough is still a bit wet, just add more flour. Okay, so I can see my dough is a bit wet. So I'm going to add the rest of the half a cup. So in total I've added 2 cups so far. Okay, so I found that I needed a bit more flour. So I just added an extra half a cup. If you do try this recipe out, just make sure to add your flour slowly, because you might need more or less flour than I'm using. Okay guys, so my dough is starting to come together. I'm just going to use my hand. I'm just adding some flour to my surface. Now in total I've used about 3.5 cups, but like I said, you might not need 3.5 cups, you might need more or less. So just go with your eye. You want a nice soft dough, but not dry or hard. Now you can see my dough is really soft, so that's what you want. So as you can see, it's similar to Romani creams. The only difference is adding the icing sugar instead of normal granulated sugar or caster sugar. And as you can see, you want a nice smooth and really soft dough. So now I'm just going to allow it to rest just for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I've just greased a cookie sheet. Now usually I would do baking paper, but I don't have any baking paper on hand, so I just greased it well. I've also got a round shaped cookie cutter. Now if you do have a small donut cutter, then you can use that, but today I'm just going to use a round cookie cutter, and I'm going to use a very small nozzle for the center. I'm just going to sprinkle some flour on my surface just so that my dough doesn't stick. When I'm rolling it out, you could also do some cling wrap. Don't want to roll out your dough too thin, but also not too thick. So now exactly how you would do Romani creams. Just going to scrape your dough just to create a rough texture. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my cookie cutter . I'm not making mine very big, so if you want a bigger cookie, just use a bigger cutter. Or like I said, if you do have a small donut cutter. and you end up with a donut shape cookie. So now I'm just going to roll out my dough again and form the rest of the cookies. Okay guys, so I'm done shaping my cookies. Now again, the recipe doesn't state for how long you should bake them, but I'm just going to place it in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes or until it's nice and golden brown at 160 degrees Celsius preheated oven. The full recipe, measurements that I've used and ingredients will be in the description box below the video. And that is it for the video, guys. I've just covered them halfway with melted chocolate, and then I just sprinkled some peppermint chocolate on top. Now you can cover them in white chocolate, milk chocolate, whichever chocolate, or you can leave it plain. Please give this video a like, I would really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new, and if you haven't already, click the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.